It was hard for me to pick just one painting from James Dean. I guess I could have easily just did 3 or 4 of them.
Wow.
Put it into my top 10.
Why don't you paint his dick so you can try to grab that?
Yeah, exactly. James, hit me up. All right. Welcome back to Waiting to Dry, everybody. Our special end of the year episode, I guess.
Yeah.
Just wanted to wish you all
a Happy New Year as well as a Merry Christmas.
That's right. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Shout out.
I am Sergio Lopez.
I'm Josh Lawyer.
And we're just chilling with just the two of us again.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, we did it. We made it through 2019.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That means we're like 2 years in on this bitch.
Yeah. Basically a week from now is when we first started 2 years ago.
Yeah, we laughed. We cried. We talked a lot of shit. And got pretty much nothing done.
Gained fans and haters along the way. Yeah.
Shout out to you 1-star fucks.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Shout out to all the PCs out there too.
I need to turn up my headphones. I feel like I'm too quiet.
All right.
But I know not. Yeah, you can talk while I'm doing this.
Okay. I don't know.
All right, I'm back.
Expert podcaster at this point.
Hell yeah. 2 years in.
Yeah.
They say you don't reach your peak till you're 3 years in.
All right. Look forward to that, guys.
Yeah, it's like it's the 10,000 hour rule, right?
All right. God, how many episodes do we got left to do that?
I don't know. What episode is this?
91?
Damn, we're about to hit 100 soon.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we would have probably already hit it, I think. If we kept with the 1 episode a week thing.
Yeah. Except for I'd just be burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. But yeah, you got plans.
Changes were necessary.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm much more into this bi-weekly thing.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, at first when we first came up with the idea, I was like, oh no, this might be the end of the podcast. But like after a while, it's like, oh, this is so much less stressful now.
Yeah, it's way better. Yeah, I like it a lot. Good call, Josh.
Yeah.
I gotta turn my headphones down.
Yeah, out of necessity, sound like.
Yeah. I mean, we're not professional talkers,
right?
So it's harder for us, and it's also like, I don't know. It's building like there's no real like, like comedians and all that shit. Like they kind of have like a built-in network of people like doing podcasts,
right?
So it's like everyone can go to each other's and big up each other and whatever,
right? Yeah.
But there's not really that in the art world.
Not really.
There's a little bit of it.
Here and there, but it's not. Yeah, there's never like really like collaborations between podcasts like there are in other areas of podcasting. So yeah, it makes it a little tough, especially being out here. It'd be one thing if like we were living like in San Francisco or Oakland, but
yeah, I know we tried to do it with the Chromatic Kid.
Oh right,
What's his podcast called again?
It's called Artitude now.
Artitude.
Yeah.
What was it called before?
What was it called? Can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, what's his name? Kevin Moore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do it. But I don't know. Yeah,
I still like chat with them regularly on Instagram and stuff. So
yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah. But yeah, what do you got planned for this 2020 kickoff?
Oh. Not a whole lot actually. I kind of most years I just go into it with a blank slate anyway, and things start popping up. Yeah, galleries start hitting you up and all that.
You go into it with a blank canvas.
Exactly. Ready for my next masterpiece.
Yeah, and a fresh palette.
A fresh palette, yeah.
And some new. I was gonna say the like the cleaner stuff.
Oh, new solvent?
Yeah, mineral spirits.
Yeah.
Fresh mineral spirits.
Yeah. Yep. January 1st, I tie my apron back on.
Yeah. But I mean, like for like the actual day, are you like doing anything? Counting things down?
Oh, you mean like goal setting type stuff?
No, like are you going to a party? I don't give a shit about all that.
I don't know. I don't know where you're going with that. If it's a nice day, Vanessa, Tony, and I were planning on either hiking or painting or both. So
at 12 o'clock at night.
Oh, is that what you're talking about? I just said day. So
like the day, like New Year. So New Year's Eve. Do you have any like?
Okay, well that's what I think of, like New Year's Eve plans like that. No, I don't yet.
Huh.
How about you?
Well, I have to go to a stupid ass. Well, not stupid ass thing. It's actually I have to go to a wedding on New Year's Eve.
Are you serious, Dan?
I know. I mean, I wouldn't go to it, but it was the best man in my wedding. Like, my really good friend. But I'm definitely gonna give him shit for this.
How dare you, sir?
And he lives in Vegas, so I have to go to Vegas.
Oh, really? What are your thoughts on Vegas?
It's not for me.
No, not for me either.
But I mean, to each their own. I mean, if you like going to clubs, go there. If you like gambling a shit ton, go there. We have gambling here, so I gamble a little bit, and if I do, I'll do it here.
And we know your thoughts on EDM, so that's not really a draw either.
Yeah. It's the greatest music of all time. But yeah, I don't know. So I got to do all that. I got to travel and not looking forward to it. Not my cup of tea, but
yeah. Flying there, assuming.
Yeah, flying there.
At least that's a quick flight. The one bright side of that.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll probably have fun. Like me going into it, I'm like, I don't want to do it. But then me in it, I'll probably be shit-faced drunk and
that's true.
Partying hard.
Yeah.
I've never had
cheap drinks everywhere in Vegas, so that's always a plus.
Yeah. I've never had trouble having fun at a party. Except for like random art shows.
Yeah.
You know art shows I'm talking about. The ones that are quiet when you walk in and you're like, what's going on here?
Right. I think one time you described those kind of parties as like old people standing around looking at an old person on the canvas looking at nothing. Staring at nothing.
That sounds like some shit I would say.
Yeah.
With colored frames and a scarf.
Right, yeah.
And a white button-up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everybody's in button-ups in those.
Yeah. Or like white pants, white button-up, scarf, red glasses. That's a person.
Yeah, that's one type of person. I'm more talking about the people who are dressed like Mr. Rogers.
No, I'm talking about the like old artsy person.
Oh, okay. Like the people from like the old school San Francisco scene. They're still holding on to that.
Yeah.
So they're still dressed
like,
that way.
I don't think they're probably artists. They're just art collectors that think they're artsy. I mean, teach their own, but I can't get down with that shit.
Yeah.
I can't have conversations with those people most of the time because they talk art ways the way I hate when people talk about art.
Oh, yeah.
The shit that drives me nuts. You know, the like, I don't know, go listen to Art Attack, listen to the lady talk.
Okay,
like
yeah.
That, you know
I see.
Like, that kind of shit, or they think they know something, but they don't know shit. That kind of person. Shout out.
Yeah. My dream guest would be Justin Bua and have him talk shit about everything.
But yeah, I don't know. My dream guest would be someone that has those ideas, has the ability to explain them to me in a way that would convince me otherwise.
I see. Yeah.
Or
she ain't it.
Or at least hear my pushback and be like, oh, I see what you mean. Either way, like to have an open, have the ability to have an open conversation about it rather than hide behind woo-woo bullshit.
Yeah, I wonder who that would even be, though.
I don't know. It's a unicorn.
Yeah.
That's why it's my dream guest.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But
probably like an abstract artist. That's cool. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, what's his name? Mark English if he didn't pass.
Right.
He might have been a cool one.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. 2019 artist pass away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder who else. That one guy. Did you hear about that guy recently that passed away from cancer?
There was a guy. I don't.
He would do kind of like figure stuff and then like kind of like Salvador Dali-ish stuff.
Who
the
I don't know.
Shouted him out?
I'm not sure. Well-known artist, though?
Yeah, I think pretty well known. Like he made like Juxtapose and those kind of magazines.
Okay.
He painted really well.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I fucking remembered his name. Let me try to figure that out while we keep talking.
All right. There was also another artist who passed away recently who was a landscape painter. I didn't know his work very well. What's his name? Russell Chatham or Chatham. I guess he lived in Marin for a long time and then moved to somewhere like Montana or Idaho, one of those places. But his work was really like tonalist landscapes, like really just like kind of like well designed but very quiet type of paintings.
So a lot of pastel-y, like foggy lakes type stuff.
Sort of, yeah. Foggy lake stuff, but like really really tightly controlled palettes. Let's see, Juxtapose. I don't know. That probably won't work.
Maybe Juxtapose.
They probably maybe did like some RIP thing.
Yeah, maybe. Nope.
Artist.
I don't know who the fuck shows him either. I'm so bad at this kind of shit. Who the fuck let me do a podcast?
Joshua Lawyer did.
But yeah, I don't know. He was like I'm like he's not my favorite painter. I think there was too much of an association with Dali.
Okay.
And how he did things like that, but I actually really liked his work. I mean, he wasn't my fave. Was
it Greg No, probably not this guy. Greg Escalante. No, that's a skateboarder. Never mind.
What are you looking up? Like people that passed away?
Yeah. I looked up Juxtapose artist, died 2019.
Damn. This is dark. I think, well, this guy just passed like 3 days ago, so they might not even have him on just because of time reasons.
Okay.
But yeah.
Maybe their Instagram.
It's a weird thing. You know, we talked about it on the mini-sode about like legacy.
Oh yeah.
It's a weird thing when you see like the artists that pass away.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy, for instance, right? Like,
right.
Like, I think he was a very talented artist. And I mean, I don't want to sound shitty or anything, but it's like, he not only might not, but he most likely, most artists most likely won't be remembered for that long.
Right. That's true though. Yeah.
I mean, the number of artists that are remembered, you know, throughout time,
mm-hmm.
you can probably, you know, fit into one thick book. And even then, that's by like art lovers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the average person is going to know like a handful of artists. And when I think about that, it's like, I don't know, like hopefully that guy lived an awesome life. Like hopefully he like, you know, had a good life. Cause fuck, I mean, relying on legacy when you're a very talented artist who is a very unique, I mean, other than the fact that he has, like, I wish I could pull him up because he's not like Dali.
Right.
But there are like those slight similarities of like, you know, people creating like a face or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so, but he did a lot of stuff too where it's like abstract stuff, but then you kind of like look closer and you're like, oh, there's like a very highly rendered face in that.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
He hit it really well. But yeah, I don't know. It was like, but it's like, maybe he might live on, you know, for, mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know. Even I always think like fucking Tupac, like, you know, like he might be remembered for like another 100 years, but I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
It's like Billie Holiday, or it's like those guys. Like they died in an airplane. I think Billie Holiday died in an airplane, right?
Oh, Buddy Holly. Yeah.
Buddy Holly, yeah.
Yeah. What was it called? The Day the Music Died. Yeah, that's what it's called.
But it's like you listen to name 4 of his songs. It's like.
Oh, I know, right? It's like a select group of people who are gonna remember.
Yeah.
Those. Yeah.
James Brown died not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at his contribution to music,
mm-hmm.
it is ridiculous.
All
of hip hop, fucking Michael Jackson, like all these like people
mm-hmm.
have been inspired by this one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when he died, no one gave a fuck. I mean, people give a fuck, but like, think about Michael Jackson's death versus his.
Oh, sure.
It's like you can arguably say that he contributed more to the actual art form than Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was probably the biggest artist of his time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at like what he wasn't original. He was just a compilation of like seeing what was great and then compiling it into one person who could
mm-hmm.
perform it at the best level.
Right.
But he wasn't like an original, I don't think.
Yeah, I guess in that way, like, legacy doesn't rely as much on what you do in your field. It's like what you mean outside of it, like how much your reach goes beyond just your art.
Right. But then that's the question though, is
mm-hmm.
like, do I respect the admiration of my peers,
mm-hmm.
or do I want to chase something that has more like notoriety of like the mainstream media world? Because if that's the case, then you have to make art that's more digestible.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like watering down your product.
Right.
To a point, I think.
Yeah, I guess so.
Be able to, appeal to the larger majority of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because, like, I'm thinking of like Kanye West. Like,
mm-hmm.
I don't think he necessarily dilutes his music to fit like any sort of mainstream thing. It seems like his goal is to basically be the trendsetter. And
yeah, I would agree with that.
And so it seems like the reason he's so well known, not only for that, but like all his antics otherwise too.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is
mm-hmm.
he's a genius marketer. Like
mm-hmm.
the average person that knows Kanye West probably doesn't know most of his music.
That's true. Yeah. They know like 2 or 3 songs. Yeah.
He's a musician that's more known for shit outside of music than the actual thing he's creating. So,
mm-hmm.
I think he does create good artwork.
Right.
Or, good music or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like even people who don't like him, at least acknowledge that he is a good musician at what he does.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even like, I think he makes good music. I don't know how good of a musician he is.
Yeah, I should say it that way. Like,
yeah,
just a musician in the sense that he makes music and like compose, like he's a composer in a way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when I listen back to his old shit, I'm like, wow, he really was bad.
Oh, really?
Like, I think his first 2 albums, when I listen back to them, I'm like, wow, you were pop garbage and like packaged in like rap, like into the rap genre. And I was like, oh,
interesting.
I didn't realize how garbage you were. So in a weird way, it's like the more I think, like when I think about Kanye, it's like this guy who like became a good artist while he was famous. Like he figured
interesting.
Like he became more. I mean, even like Childish Gambino is a similar story. Like if you listen to the first album, you're like, wow, this is garbage. This is just a horrible Lil Wayne bite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then you start looking at his like evolution and you're like, oh shit, like you became a good musician.
Right. Through
like while kind of being famous as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think my what I would guess is that they thought that what they were making was good, and then they really learned what good was by like meeting other really fucking good musicians.
Yeah.
And going, oh wait, there's like a real like push, like like Kanye West. I think he met with Bon Iver, and I think that like influenced a lot of like his albums after. If you pay attention.
Oh really? Huh.
Yeah.
About what year was that around? Like 2000.
Shit, I don't know.
8 or so? I don't know, 8 or 9.
Bon Iver, a big reason why they kind of popped was because of Kanye West. Was because he was like, these guys are the shit, and then he did a collaboration with them.
Right.
And then they kind of became, some like their indie folk thing that they are today. I don't know, where are we, how do we get here?
I was just basically...
Legacy.
Yeah, about legacy and stuff. Yeah, legacy. Why? Yeah. But we just kind of tangented into something else there. That was kind of interesting. Like, that does seem to happen more in music, where like a pop star, like, I don't know, somebody like Harry Styles, like he was, I forget what boy band he's from, but like he took off into a different career, and people like his... What's that?
I know it starts with one, but I was confused.
One Direction. Yeah.
That's one.
Not One Republic. Yeah. So, I don't know. That doesn't seem to happen as much with like visual art. Like, I can't think of anybody who got famous as a like a visual artist that was like, that's not garbage and is like,
well, I mean,
learning as they go, or like getting better as they go.
There are some, I mean, like, even like think of like Sylvia G. Like if you look at her, I mean, like her really early stuff.
Sure.
Compared to like, I don't know.
Like the height of her popularity.
Yeah. I think she grew a lot within that little bit of time.
That's true. Like,
a lot of the
people that I'm thinking of, people like, Soey Milk and James Jean, like their stuff has grown exponentially, but they were never garbage, so it's hard for me to.
I'm not saying everyone did, but I think there are examples of that. Like I think a lot of probably people that made it into Juxtaposed and probably became very popular. Either they got pigeonholed into like a style, like Audrey Kawasaki is kind of like that too, a little bit. Sure. But she's always been pretty good. But I think she's really developed. Like it was like a very simple, almost like anime style in the beginning, and then it like I don't know, it got really good.
Right.
Later on, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million examples of people who've gotten better,
right,
as they've gotten more famous, for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'd have to think about it more. But I think there's definitely people who kind of pop, like, for instance, like if you think about what would be very good on Instagram, there's a very like, I feel like there's a pretty almost simple formula to becoming like a very popular Instagram artist without actually having to be an actual good artist.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And it's a lot of like thick lined, so it reads, in small, like a lot of outlined stuff, a lot of like a certain color palette, like teals and oranges. Just kind of look for like the most hip colors of that year.
Right. Yeah.
I remember there was something like that where it's like, oh, the colors of the year, and then you could like
Pantone's color.
Yeah, and you could probably just fucking take those colors and use them.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna do okay.
Yeah, basically like hit up any interior designer, like go onto their Instagram, figure out what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I think out of that group of people, there are going to always be like a small percentage that kind of gets elevated from that and becomes like, what's that? I don't know that fucking lady's name. She does like Asian women and like tigers and stuff like that. She uses a lot of resin. Do you know what I'm talking about? But I know when she came out, people gave her a ton of shit because she was pretty much just copying Audrey Kawasaki.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about because I know I don't remember her early work, but I think you're talking about Stella M. Huntberg or something like that. But I know her early work was very...
No, not her.
Okay. I know her early work was very influenced by Audrey Kawasaki, though, too.
But Stella kind of came up with Audrey as well. Like, they kind of seemed like they popped up around the same time. Oh. This lady's, like, pretty new to the art world. And when she was... And I think she deleted, like... She's pretty big on Instagram, too. And I believe she deleted, like, all her old shit because it's just, like... It's like, I don't know. But it's one of those things, too, where it's like... You know, when you're young, you kind of look up to people and you, like, bite their shit or whatever, and then you become your own thing. Mm-hmm. The issue is that she became big copying Audrey Kawasaki, you know, and then kind of morphed into, like, she had that, she skipped a step of, or she became popular before she learned that second step of, like, segueing from who like your idols are or whatever, and creating your own shit. I can't find her. God damn it. This is what happens. Oh my God. Who let me...
Well, if you find it, let me know. And
I'll keep looking.
Post it on the Instagram.
But yeah, she uses a lot of resin. Have I talked about my theory of resin here?
The shiny shit theory.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have
on the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should dive into that, but
I know we've talked about it on Brave Castle, but not here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have this theory about rich people and monkey brains, and how like monkeys are attracted to really shiny things. And rich people still like have that monkey part in their brain that shows up in all sorts of weird ways, like their love for jewelry and shit like that.
For sure.
Which, I mean, everyone kind of, I mean, I don't really care about that shit, but there's a ton of people wear jewelry. Yeah. So everyone's got that monkey part in their brain, but rich people have the financial means to spend money on these shiny things. Right. And my thought is that people I feel like there's a group of people that rely on resin to be an important effect to their artwork.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of those people also use shiny shit in resin as well, and bright colors.
Right. That's true.
And I remember when I was young, I went to this art fair in Palo Alto, which is like Rich People Central. Uh-huh. And, you know, Facebook was created there, and all .com shit. Tesla was created in fucking Palo Alto. Right. And so there's like nothing but rich people, and like every other fucking booth was some resin garbage shit for like a crazy amount of money. And I remember thinking like, holy shit. To like sell to rich people, all you gotta do is make super shiny garbage, like, and that's it. Like, I mean, think of what's the balloon animal dude's name?
Oh, Jeff Koons.
Jeff Koons, just a shiny large object, and they're like, "Ooh, give it to me, give it to me, I need it."
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a theory. It's not, it hasn't been proven, but
hasn't been disproven yet. Though.
Exactly. Can't prove me wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a weird correlation with. So all I'm saying is, if you want to sell your art, make that shit shiny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
People hate matte finishes, but I love them. You know, like a matte finish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you do love matte finish more than like anybody else I know.
Yeah. And people hate that shit. I'm like, well, hi, it's so nice. Mm-hmm. I love it. I don't know why.
What is it do you think about it?
I don't know. It just looks smooth. You know what I mean? It just looks like it feels good.
I see. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And like, matte kind of implies sort of like a velvety texture almost to it a bit.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that it looks like it feels good rather than it's shiny. I also hate when something's shiny, like someone puts a high gloss
like
in
there's
it.
too much glare on it.
Yeah, and then it's like you have to like look at it from like a weird angle,
Right, yeah.
to see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't want to think about that either.
Mm-hmm.
Or like trying to photograph it and it's just bouncing light off. So you have to like,
Oh yeah, in museums when they like any museum show, like even oil paintings are behind glass. I guess they kind of have to be, but still, it's like bad for my Insta stories.
Right. Yeah. And probably just to even pick up on good details and shit like that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But I don't know. I just like how it looks. It's like it looks like a dog's moist nose. You know what I mean?
I guess
it looks like it feels good. I don't know where we go from here.
Who else do you know that does paintings that are like matte that you like?
MJ likes a matte finish. That's why we're married.
Yeah. Match made in heaven.
I don't know. I can't think of it.
I know there are some. I'm trying to remember. Like, there's some. Well, pretty much anybody who works with cold wax.
Yeah. Anyone that works cold wax, anyone that works with gouache.
Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, I feel like watercolor is pretty matte.
Can be. Yeah. It's usually pretty matte, but
yeah, not on purpose. I mean, that's just because the medium dictates that.
I think Heather likes matte finish.
Well, she paints in gouache a lot.
Right.
So I guess Jeremy Duncan. Gouache a lot.
All the gouache guys. Yeah.
And girls.
That's true. Let's be all inclusive here.
Yeah, I don't know. I got Chris Liebs. I'm like looking around. Just the Chris Liebs piece is matte.
I wonder if that's on purpose, though.
Probably not. Probably not. I got nothing. I'm trying to like think of who else might like a graffiti artist like a nice matte finish.
Do you think if there were more like if gloss was more available to them?
It is available, but all the professional paint is all matte.
Oh, okay.
Because artists like it that much. The graffiti artists.
I see.
Yeah, like all the high end spray paint.
Oh, okay.
Is and when we were young and we used to still paint, we would always get pissed if we accidentally realized we got like one gloss.
Oh, really?
Like, fuck! I thought this was matte.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But it also a big part of that. I mean, a big part of that is you paint. Like, say if I'm painting something, and some colors they finish glossy and some finish matte in general. I don't like it when one of the colors is finishes glossy. Like a lot of like blacks finish glossy.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, fuck that color. I hate it. Because I don't know. I just don't like that. And I think that's a big reason why graffiti artists like it. Or maybe I'm just talking about myself, but also you usually just take a picture of your shit and that's all you have.
Right.
So if you have glossy finish, you're like, this shit is too hard to photograph.
Yeah, that's true. Especially if you got to do it at night. You got to hit the flash. It's like.
Exactly. Plus, it just looks like it feels good. You know what I mean?
I actually get what you mean with that. Yeah.
But yeah.
I want that murdered out look.
Yeah. Gunmetal black. Jet gray.
Baller.
All the cool sounding colors.
Yeah.
Come in matte. But yeah, I don't know. Where we really got on a tangent there.
Yeah.
Really got on.
I have no idea how we got there.
We started off by talking about people that died this year.
Yeah, that's
how far away we got. And we're like, I thought there was an ice cream man on stage. It's like, in December, you must be lost. But yeah.
Arizona's that way.
Should we start diving into this shit? This might take a while, maybe. Or not. The top 10
Top 10 paintings?
What do you think?
Sure, why not? What time
Why not? I mean, we're 40 minutes in.
Oh, okay. Since all these end of the year type of things love to do lists, why not waiting to dry?
Fuck yeah.
So I just compiled from my Insta saves
All right.
the top 10 paintings in 2019 that I found for myself. And they're not really in any particular order, but figured I'd talk about paintings, why I like them. And so first one was Colleen Barry art on Instagram from January 3rd. Detail of Hinterland. And it's just a girl it's a portrait of a female who's just got the side of her face laying down on like I don't know, like a table or something like that.
Yeah.
And
it looks dark. It looks sad.
Yeah. It looks very sad. Yeah.
Moody.
Very moody. And, normally, actually, no, I wouldn't say that. I'd say that like my taste in art ranges all sorts of different emotional spectrums. So even though my art is almost never like that dark and moody these days, sometimes I'm just really drawn to that type of emotion and drama in a painting. And she's done like a series of heads like they're like that too. And actually the other one, maybe I might like a little bit more.
Okay, you can't change shit on us now, Sergio. Sorry.
But the idea is the same basic thing where I like the well, first of all, it's it's rendered super well. She's a awesome painter. Like her head studies are some of my favorite things to see on Instagram when she posts them. I don't know, I just like the kind of mood and emotion that's implied in this painting, just of that series in general. It's really just evocative. I don't know if there's a better word for it.
Yeah, it's a cool piece.
Yeah. Any shit to talk about it?
No, I like it a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Feel free to talk shit about any of these if you want.
No. I'm gonna, I'll take it all in. Maybe give end opinion or something.
For sure. All right.
But I'll give you little things like, that's dope. I like it.
Yeah. Josh gives it a thumbs up.
All right.
Next one is, see if it will load.
Quang Ho art. Quang
Ho art. Yeah. If it will load for me, that's great that it's not. Why am I not connected to your Wi-Fi?
I don't know. That's not my problem.
Oh, that's why. I don't have the password for it anymore.
Well, if you can remember it, it's still the same.
Yeah.
If you can't, I'm not going to say it out loud.
Hold on. You could, now you could say it.
Please stand by.
And we're back. Had to say a password. That might be a password to other shit. I have no idea. I can't remember all that shit. But
Don't
I can't
worry.
say it out loud.
What bank do you use? Okay, so he calls it, or it doesn't really have a title on this one, but it's from August 13th, and it's calls it A Return to Classical Romanticism Glazing Experience. So it's a painting that he basically painted all in black and white first, and then just did a bunch of glazing over it.
For sure.
And the reason I like it a lot is because glazing is something that, like, I barely know much about. Like, I've only tried to color a painting from black and white a handful of times outside of like classwork. And just the way everything in it is painted, it looks like it's like such a classical style of work, but also like his brushwork and everything is just always awesome. He's such a experimenter, and he knocks it out of the park so often that it was really cool to see something where he did, I guess, a way of working that he doesn't really do either, but it looks like something that he's been practicing forever. So, like, I don't know, I think it's just a really, like, a technically really beautiful piece, and it's just really well done from all sorts of things. Like, I like the way the body is handled. I love the fabric and all that, and even all the stuff like the vase full of flowers and stuff like that just reads like very convincingly, like, even though it's painted fairly loosely in areas. So that is one to look at if people are interested in checking that out.
It's not my favorite so far, but it seems very like scholarly, painterly like, which isn't my. I like the plants. It's my favorite part of that piece.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's not for me. But his stuff is cool. I don't mind his work.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not that piece isn't my cup of tea.
For sure.
But it makes sense why it's yours. I mean, I could see why you would be into it more than me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is what it is.
Right. It's a thumbs half up.
Yeah. It's to each their own.
Gotcha. All right. Next one is Zoey Frank swimming pool from April 23rd. And this one is probably her wildest one from that series.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Yeah. I like her work in general. She's
nice. Me too. Yeah. She's one of my favorites on Instagram as well. And so this painting is almost like collage of all sorts of different elements, even though it's an oil painting, but it's got people in it. That's all sorts of different patterns and other elements interspersed with them. And it kind of is like almost like a quilt looking kind of painting. Yeah. The reason I like is like, if you zoom in, you could see all the texture that's going on in it. I love that buildup of texture that she has in her work. And just the way that she designs shapes in her work too, where everything is just like, there's all these different sort of abstract shapes that are very geometrical. Yeah. When they're built up in that way, they become like different figures and things like that. And just all the different objects in it. Like, she's a really good still life painter in like a really unique way. Yeah. So
her still lifes are my favorite. Like, I mean, this isn't even like, this piece is cool, but I'm much like her, like more like quieter still life stuff.
Right. Like the ones that she did of
sandwiches or something like that. Or like she did one of cleaning supplies that I really liked a lot. She almost like did like two versions where one was like, I think she like cut out like a Windex plastic part and glued it to it.
I think so. Yeah. I'm looking at that one right now. Oh, really? Like it looks like she like embedded pieces of the actual stuff into the painting.
And she did like two versions of the same thing. And I was like, damn, those are fucking awesome. That her still life's, I mean, it's one of those, like as artists, you always geek out on other artists. And it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I don't want to go do still lifes. But I have to like stop myself because it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm just going to go that route and be like, God damn it, why did I go this fucking route? Because I saw other people do it.
Right.
Like, I need to do it too.
Right.
But yeah, she does it well. And
yeah, I've had to kind of stop myself from doing that too often. Like the whole like veering off into a different direction just because I saw somebody else do it so well.
Yeah, I think you have to be intentional if you do shit like that. You have to really be like mindful of.
You gotta be sure like that's what you really want to do, if that's the road you're gonna go down.
Yeah, not just because you see someone who's doing it and you really like their work.
So I think the reason I chose this one over those was just because of like kind of that awe-inspiring aspect of it. It's a 66 by 72 inch painting, so it's pretty big, right? And like it's just the amount of work and detail in it, it's like just like a blast
for sure
in your face about it. So
and to nail something like that is not easy.
Yeah, and sometimes I just like those paintings that are they just feel like patterns almost. They just become this like just a mass of different little elements to it that kind of come together in a weird way.
Why you like Jackson Pollock, you fucking asshole?
Secrets out. All right. Next one is Stephen Early Studio. It's a study of a male figure. There's
Stephen Early. Well, it's Stephen late for dinner. Late for dinner. Is that dong or is that muscle? I can't tell, but I'm into it.
I think that is dong.
That is semi-hard dong.
Well, that is only one of the reasons I chose this painting.
Obviously.
But no, I love Stephen Early's work. Like, there's a bunch of ones that I could have chosen for this as part of this little list here. But yeah, there's just something about this one in particular that just really grabbed me, and it's we already mentioned it, but
or you grabbed it.
yeah, exactly. Wanted to grab, but it grabbed me instead. There's I like just even like the abstract washy stuff around it to make it more of a design to it, like the way that the torso or all that shape above the torso that becomes just like, I don't know, like it becomes sort of nondescript. Like it looks like there's something happening there, but you can't really tell what it is.
Right.
And like the anatomy of it, the way he just like described the hip bone right there, it's popping out.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And so are the ribs. And I don't know, it's just like a really solid little study. It's not even that big of a painting. I think these are only like 8x8 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks awesome. It looks fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the abstract parts are cool. They definitely add to it.
Mm-hmm.
By doing that, I always think that like draws my attention more than if he just finished the piece off.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Nice.
Give her the dick.
You've been holding on to that to this very moment. You're like, one of these days.
Oh, I've used it before.
Oh,
maybe a couple times.
No, I don't even remember that.
Next one is Jeff Hein art from June 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Another just like looks like maybe a painting from life.
Uh-huh.
It's just a really well done painting of a older woman.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, is she old? I don't even see age.
You don't see color either?
Nope.
Okay.
No idea what color she is.
Just see penis, that's all.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool effect with the dual lighting, with that blue light coming in, but just really don't have a whole lot to say about it other than it just being like a really solid head study. I mean, it's just so 3D and like popping out of the canvas. The way it's painted, it just really impressed me. He doesn't post that many studies that far finished, but yeah,
for sure.
That one just stood out to me when I first scrolled by it on Instagram when he posted it, and it just kind of stuck with me since. So, yeah, just a solid head painting.
Mm-hmm. Next. Was I supposed to say something? Yeah.
I don't know. If you had anything.
Cool.
I
don't know.
Next one is Soey Milk, called No Name My Heart, posted February 13th. Mm-hmm. She's done a bunch of really good paintings this year, but this one, I don't know, I just kind of like the sort of rough, unfinished look that she doesn't always have in her work. Mm-hmm. There's just something like all the different elements. There's just something more exciting to me about this kind of almost unfinished look than when she like renders and smooths everything out kind of. I like all the drips and splatters and all that fun shit.
Right. Yeah. That stuff's good.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, even the jewelry is painted interestingly, like her earrings and that thing that she's wearing on her forehead, like have a different look to it. That's kind of like that graphic thing that she likes to do. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's kind of just vintage Soey Milk to me.
Yeah. I mean, I always like her stuff. Mm-hmm. She like how you said these things are interesting. I feel like that's what I think about her. Like that's the best way to describe her for me is like, she really knows how to make a piece that is interesting to me. Mm-hmm. Like where I like geek out on little things here and there. And then like the overall piece is just pulls me in and is good. Mm-hmm. And then there's so much like little interesting things here and there.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a beast.
Mm-hmm. Next one is James Jean.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. I guess you weren't listening to me earlier today.
What'd you say?
Good. Okay, this was posted March 20th. It's Descendants. I don't know why it's called Blue Wood East. Maybe that's part of the title. But huge painting, 132 by 432 inches.
God, he paints so big right now. It's
yeah,
crazy.
It was hard for me to pick just one painting from James Jean. I guess I could have easily just did 3 or 4 of them.
Wow.
Put it into my top 10.
Why don't you paint his dick so you can try to grab that?
Yeah, exactly. James, hit me up. I could either do this one or a different one, but This one, I mean, what do you got to say about it other than like just it's everything that you want from a James Jean painting. It's got all the design elements, everything huge, and just all the lines beautifully done.
I still wish he did more sloppier stuff. Like, you know, like his stuff where he was like a little bit more like reckless.
Yeah, that's true.
I wish he would incorporate that into this stuff. That's the only thing. I mean, I love James, like everything he fucking does. He's just a goddamn beast. And if I could paint his penis and grab it, I would do it too. So.
Yeah.
But my favorite stuff of his has always been like the more like the stuff that like puts a little bit of more like a painterly touch to it.
Right. I think that's part of the reason I chose this one, because some of his other stuff, it's a lot more clean, and he's got a little bit more of the dripping and
like
texture
like
in it.
That print behind, like right behind you know that one?
Oh,
like that one has like, I feel like the perfect amount of like his like graphic style with like painterliness to it.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
That I like the most, but that's my preference. But
yeah, I agree. Like, James Jean about 10 years ago was about probably my favorite era.
Yeah, I wonder how much his paintings were then. Don't you wish you just had the money when like the artists that you love were doing what they did best, and you could just be like, fuck.
Yeah, I wonder when he first came out with his sketchbook back in the day, I wonder how much his originals were going for. They were probably still out of my range.
Guanfa.
Huh?
I'm speaking patois now.
Okay.
You got the dragon one?
Yeah, the next one is Mia Bergeron from October 1st.
How do I know that name? Mia Bergeron.
Don't know if you're that familiar with their work.
This dragon thing I've never seen, so
okay.
Most likely not. Are they painting or?
Yeah.
They kind of look digital in some. Like the dragon one looks a little digital.
Yeah.
I can't tell.
It looks like she did a little bit of digital painting to, like if you scroll back, just for like the composition stuff. But then the actual painting is all oil. Yeah, I just love the way that dragon is painted. And like I've seen her work in person, so I know how textured it is. Like this is probably actually my least favorite of the 10, just because like I don't think the figure is painted nearly as well as the dragon and stuff.
Yeah, the coat is a little distracting for me. Like the arm of the coat.
Right. Yeah, there's something about that that's a little bit off to me, but
yeah,
like other than that, I just love everything else that's going on with it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's always tough to have because it's obvious that she has to kind of make up the thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just a tricky thing in general. It's like, oh, pretend there's a dragon wrapped around a person. It's like, well, that's going to be hard. You have to be very aware of lighting.
Yeah.
And you have to really nail it. And there's like she did a shadow over the shoulder, you know, but then the shadow under the elbow looks wrong because the light source is coming from the light source from the dragon's coming from the left. The light source from the person is coming from the top right. So maybe that's the off.
I don't know. Is it though?
Or maybe north. It seems like it's coming from like north, like the person's northern lighting. But then if you look at the dragon, isn't it like northern left, like northern to the left of the dragon, I would say?
Kind of, but I could buy that it's coming from the same direction with the way that like her face is in shadow and stuff, and like the shadow under her hand is being cast the same way. But
the shadows are being like directly down, right? Look at the petal, look at the chin of the dragon, look at the
right. I don't know. Maybe it is.
But those things are just tricky because they really stand out like in a weird kind of can't put my finger on it type of way. A lot of times I feel like,
right.
Like something's a little wrong, but it might be like that the shadow of the dragon's lip shouldn't just be like a little shadow. It should be like all the way down her arm. You know what I mean? Like, because it's hard shadows.
Yeah, I see what you mean. That little thing under the dragon lip. That's
or even the elbow
Mhm.
shadow might have to go all the way around the dragon's body.
I think that's probably the part that's throwing me off the most.
It's like little things like that where it's hard to kind of, I don't know. Those are one of those things where it's like, I wish I was a fucking sculptor so I could, or like a little bit, so I could just play it around in clay and then see the shadow and then light it and then be like, cool, I know where the light sources have to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like she did a lot of it from her imagination from what I'm reading in the thing. But her husband is a sculptor, so maybe they did try and figure some of that out in sculpture. But just the fact that she just did it from like just piecing together stuff and probably didn't have like a real photo shoot for most of it. I just found it pretty impressive to pull that off in the way that she did.
Yeah.
All right. And the last one is the only landscape that I put in here, but it's by Jacob Aguiar, pastel painter, from April 27. He's one of my favorite landscape painters right now. I just love his color. It's like really bold and punchy and like really high contrast. And I've definitely thought of his work when I've been out plein air painting. And this is one, when I think of his work, it's just the one that I think about a lot. It's a grove of like aspen trees, I think, and with the colors changing a bit. Yeah, I just like the way he works that medium, that pastel. It's definitely not like how most people work in pastel. So it's really bold and punchy, and yeah, I just like his work a lot, and this one just happens to be one of my favorites of his.
Yeah, it's cool. And now my list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a good list.
What was your favorite out of those?
I mean, probably the first one.
Okay, Colleen Barry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that dark shit.
You know me. I feel like I'm really falling into like that like dark comedy thing now.
Yeah.
Now that I keep thinking about it, like even a little unintentional, like not unintentional, but I'm like, oh, it would be a little funny to do this. I just think it's, I don't know. I mean, they're not even trying to be funny on it. They're just trying to be dark.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Like, I think even if it looks dead serious, but the concept behind it is a bit funny, then I'm into it.
I see.
But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I pretty much like all of them. None of them were bad, or none of them I thought were like. I would be stoked to see any of those pieces in real life. For
sure. Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I couldn't write a list because I couldn't think of. You know who I will say though, who I've been liking a lot this year is Elisa's stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like her like drawing and digital stuff.
Oh, okay.
I've just been really. I mean, she's just a solid artist, but she's one of those artists that I'm just like, God, you are killing it.
Yeah, she's been like doing a lot more like color stuff recently too, right?
Yeah, the color stuff. It's just been like, I don't know. I've just been really liking it.
Nice. All right. So that is
that.
Yeah, she's been doing shit for like Procreate, right? Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
I didn't know it was for Procreate, but that's cool.
Yeah.
When you told me to write a list, I was like the first person. I was like, all right, I got to look at what Lisa did this year because I've been really into it.
Nice.
And then I talked myself out. I talked you out of making me do a list. I was like, I don't know. I don't have, because I don't save. You were like, I just looked through all my saved art on Instagram. I don't save. I save a little bit of art, but it's rarely something I'm really into.
Oh.
It's mostly something that someone did that I want to incorporate. That I'm like, oh, I always forget that I should try to like work in this kind of like graphic like thing or something.
I see.
Or even something where it's like, oh, they did something interesting there. Let me try to figure out how they did that. You know, like a little small technique thing. Nothing. Well, like the overall painting isn't necessarily going to be like on the list of like my favorite shit.
I see.
Yeah. That's why I would save a piece. It wouldn't be because I'm really into it.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, I have like two different ones where I'm like, one is like art I like, and then one is like inspiration, and that kind of falls more into that category for me.
For sure. Yeah. But I noticed that you forgot to put me on the list.
Well, I forgot myself too.
But you can't. No one can like your own art. You know what I mean? It's impossible. You have to hate it.
Yeah, that's true.
I would never make my own list.
Right.
I'd make my own list for art I hate this year.
That's actually a good question. Like, which one of your paintings is my favorite of yours that you did this year?
Please don't do this.
Okay.
Please don't.
All right.
But yeah. Good list. What else? Did you say you had an article or some shit?
Yeah. I have an article that has a little bit to do with something we've talked about
the
before.
Unfair truth thing?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. By the way, I noticed that David Chaffetz came at you.
Oh.
Shout out, by the way.
Oh, about FASO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do any more research on that?
Well, I told him why I had the problem with FASO.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, oh, well, that's fucked up. I didn't know about that.
Do they do human trafficking?
Worse.
Worse, they don't like my posts.
Yeah, exactly. Worse, they didn't honor my 10% discount.
Is that true? Is that why?
So the article is by Jeff Goins, and it's called The Unfair Truth About How Creative People Really Succeed. I'll just skip around to the parts that he's talking about. So he said, years later, I would discover how success is born out of luck. I don't think any honest person disputes that, but luck in many ways can be created, or at the very least improved. The truth is, this is not fair. For creative work to spread, you need more than talent. You have to know the right people and get the right exposure to the right networks. And as unfair as that may seem, it's the way the world has always worked. The good news is you have way more control over this than you realize. He's got this thing called the systems approach to creativity. And there's a model that's 3 systems: domain, field, and individual. So number 1, the individual must master their craft in a given domain.
Check.
Yeah. The person must offer their creative work to a field of influencers in that domain who are trusted experts. And number 3, these gatekeepers decide if the work is worth being accepted as authoritative into the domain. And he says, as much as I initially winced at the words gatekeepers when considering what makes creative work succeed, once I started to read biographies of famous artists, it made a lot of sense. Talent is only part of the equation. The other 2 parts have to do with networks. But how do you apply this approach if you don't live someplace like Paris or even Nashville for that matter, or San Francisco? Well, you could do one of 2 things. You could move, or you could let go of your excuses and realize there's a network available to you right now wherever you are. This can come in the form of an online mastermind group or event you attend. But the truth is, there are just connections at your disposal that you're not tapping into. So this is this process. It's probably like the part that was most interesting to me. So if you want to see at the table, the process is simple. Find a gatekeeper. In my case, this was Michael Hyatt, who I met 5 years ago over coffee. This wasn't by chance. I was strategic in reaching out to him, tenacious in staying in touch, and intentional in demonstrating that I was teachable. For Hemingway, this was Sherwood Anderson and Gertrude Stein. These were people who held keys to the kingdom. Every domain has at least one. Number 2, connect with people in the network. Once I spent 6 months earning Mike's trust, he introduced me to others I knew, or he knew. In some cases, I asked him to do this. In other cases, he just did it. Stein introduced Hemingway to other writers in Paris who could help him, and help as many people in the network as possible. This is crucial. It's not who you know, it's who you help. People will remember what you do for them a lot more than remember how funny or clever you were. Speak for yourself. In the early days, I tried to help influencers by interviewing them for my blog. It wasn't much, but it was a foot in the door. And in spite of his reputation as an alpha male, Hemingway did this too. So yeah, basically the whole idea is like, talent alone isn't what's going to make you successful. It's like how much you contribute to the network you're in.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree with him that talent isn't the only determining factor for being successful.
Right.
But I don't agree with, I think his thought of how to become successful, I think is like an old model.
Right.
That I think is like in this, I think there's a window right now where it's an old model and it might become the standard model again. But I think the social media is just a wrench in the system. Because the idea is that these gatekeepers have access to people that you don't have access to. But if you work your ass off, you can have access to those people.
Right. Well, I think that's kind of the point he was making when he said he met that guy, Michael. Like, he worked his ass off to get
No,
to
what
that
I mean
guy.
is you don't need Michael.
Oh.
Like, you don't need the gatekeeper. You just need access to the people. It's like, I don't need... Because the idea is that you create the art and then you have the people who give you the pat on the back for why your art's worth buying. Is kind of the essential model.
Yeah, more or less.
I think there's an opportunity to kill that model. But like it takes a large effort to do so.
Right. That's true.
I think a better network is network between artists. I really think that's the better solution.
Yeah, I agree.
Fuck a gatekeeper. They're not shit. What do? I mean, every rich person has an Instagram nowadays. If you really want to pursue rich people, go fucking find them. You know, I don't know. I think the whole like gatekeeper idea is dumb as fuck, and I don't care if it's happened since Mark Twain or whatever. I don't give a fuck. I mean, things change, and I think the idea back then was because you needed someone to distribute your books, because you needed someone to show your work, because you needed someone to make your movie, that you would need these gatekeepers to approve you. It just doesn't exist anymore. I mean, you have a camera, you can make a movie. You have, I mean, unless you're trying to make a fucking Marvel movie or a box office like action-packed thriller, you're going to need a huge budget. But like, there are means to anything. You just have to be able to value like your artistic freedom over their money, and then put in that work to get what you want.
Yeah. Maybe gatekeeper was not specific enough as to what he's talking about, even because it seems like, yeah, you do need to convince certain people to help you get what you want. And maybe it's not like a thing where like, if you can't do that, then you're locked away from these things. It's more like you kind of have to network with certain people if you want things done a specific way. But it's like what you're saying.
Such
like,
as what?
Well, like, for example, like if you wanted to show your work in, I don't know, certain galleries or whatever, like it would help to have the clout of certain magazines maybe, or something like that.
Sure. But I still think that you can bypass all that.
You can, yeah, definitely.
On your own. It just takes your effort. You know, like, I don't know. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like knowing people who might write like fucking things about your artwork might help you out. Sure. Right. I mean, I just don't want to play that game.
For sure.
To be honest. Yeah. Because I can't, the thing I can't stand the most is being in an environment where I just can't be normal. Where it's like,
yeah,
it's like the most judgy, you know what I mean? Like, like these woke ass judge free motherfuckers can't handle people not giving a fuck about their shitty opinions. That's a lot of these people have garbage opinions, and if I told them that, they would be offended. It's like, oh, I can't have the opinion that you're wrong about what you think is true. It's like, prove me wrong. But a lot of these gatekeepers, people that can write magazines, who can get you into galleries, I think they don't have a well-built opinion about art and what's good and what's not good. I think they all are like hype beast with money. and boring lives and and not interesting people. And I think they get their value from being these people, and their opinions are built around what is correct at the moment. And I don't give a shit about that.
Right.
And I'm not going to waste my time thinking about how to make them happy and just like agreeing with them so I can be friends with them. It's just, I don't know. To me, that's a waste of my time, because that's not what I'm trying to do. If you're trying to go that route, feel free. I might judge people a little bit. I mean, I definitely am judging people recently.
Yeah, I don't know if you necessarily have to mold yourself to fit their idea of like what is like acceptable in their realm of taste.
Show me an example where it doesn't happen. I mean...
Well, it's hard to say. Like,
if you work like name a gallery that you would want to show with. That, I mean, God, I don't want to make this personal, but it's like, I know you work with a specific gallery that won't let you do certain things. You know, it's like, so you have to mold yourself to do what they want.
I see.
I don't agree with that. I mean, I also know that, we talked to someone who has opinions and who might write stuff for magazines, and it seemed like the ideas that they carried were not similar to mine, and it was very hard to push back on those ideas. But I don't fucking care. But I think to get in with them, you would have to agree. Because I got the vibe that I can't have this opinion. Like, this opinion isn't appreciated because it's counter to theirs.
I see.
I don't know. It's the idea of like the closer you get to those like gatekeeper people where you have to pretend things that aren't good are good.
I see.
I've talked to curators of decently sized galleries, and I mean, one of them, he's an artist himself, and I don't like his work at all. And I've seen people pretend his work is good in front of his face, and then talk shit behind his back.
I see.
I'm not going to do that shit. I'm just not going to be around you. I'm not going to want to work with you because I don't want to. I don't want to pretend that your work is good.
I see.
Because I have to work with you. And I see it all the time. I mean, artists bite their fucking tongue. I talk a lot of shit in front of faces. That's
true.
And that's just me having my opinions. And if you disagree, tell me why. I'm perfectly open for knowing. The issue is when I talk my shit and I get an instant, like, kind of like vibe that I shouldn't have this opinion, or like I'm wrong or whatever. I mean, Irene, who I love, who I work with a shitload, she's like yelled at me because of that.
Oh yeah, that's true. I think I've been, not yelled at you, but I've been in the room when those discussions have happened.
So it's like, but in my mind, I don't think it has deterred me at all from the success I'm going to have. In a weird way, I think it's done the opposite. It's real. Right. It's made me realize like how little effort I have to put towards these people.
I see.
As long as I can put that effort towards, a direction that I think gives me the freedom to be whoever the fuck I want to be, to have the opinions I want to have, and to build my own fucking group of people who are stoked on my work. I mean, that's all I care about.
Right.
Why the fuck do I need this gallery to tell you that my artwork is good? If you think it's good, it's good. If I think it's good, that's my opinion. I don't need this. If you're a person who needs someone to tell you what's dope, I don't want to fuck with you anyways. Go fuck off. Like, you're not my kind of person. You don't have an opinion. That's the opposite of what I want.
Right.
I want someone that has an opinion. And even if I disagree, I'm stoked that we can talk about it and maybe like argue about it. Like, that's my favorite type of shit. But if you're a type of person who's like, oh, this is genius because that person said so because it sold for this much money because, these things. And I'm like, all right, you're a waste of time. You're a garbage person.
Yeah.
Go buy a fucking
banana.
It's like those people that buy, what is it? Lamborghinis. Like car people will talk shit about people that buy Lamborghinis because it's
really?
It's like the shittiest car that's worth too much money.
I see.
And they're like, if you're smart, you would never buy that. But the people, so when you see someone with a Lamborghini, you're like, oh, you just like something that looks shiny. You're one of those shiny fucks who knows nothing and got told that this is what you should buy. And it's garbage. So I don't know. That gatekeeper shit, like, it's a route for sure. Mm-hmm. Just like trying to get into museums is a route. Right. Just like all the other routes. But I don't know. I think there's a small window right now. Maybe it'll close. Maybe it'll fucking open up even more where the artists, if they take charge, are the gatekeepers.
Right.
Like, they get to make the decisions of who they want to work with. Mm-hmm. Not vice versa. Like, oh, I want to get into this gallery. I think there's going to become a point where or there's a little window now where the artist should be like, I don't know if I want to work with you. Why do I want to give you half my money? Mm-hmm. Prove to me that you're worth it.
Right.
And if you're not, bye. What the fuck do I need you for? Mm-hmm. I got the entire world at my fingertips.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people thinking that way now.
Yeah, I think it's the right way to think
about it.
Yeah. Earn your keep, motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. We're not sitting back trying not to make dope ass work for no reason. Like, we're working our ass off. Mm-hmm. We're trying our hardest to make a painting that we think is the best painting possible. Mm-hmm. If you're not trying to be the best fucking gallery out there, why do I need you?
Right.
If you're just relying on followers of the artist, why do I need you for 4 walls? Go fuck off. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, I guess the only other thing I could think about is like people who become like gatekeepers in that way don't relinquish their power that easily. Yeah. So they'll probably find a new way to be the gatekeeper after, like, once the thing shifts.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's even like, like Netflix, right? It was like it was like the new kid on the block, and it was killing it. It was like show after show of like, wow, this is fucking a great television show. Oh, this is a great thing. If you look at it now, it's like Vanessa Hudgens. It's like the Disney kid shit. It's like stand-up comedy from like some dude from India who's like not funny at all. Yeah. But it's like and in my head, I'm like, oh, you guys hired one of those gatekeep motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, you're going to lose everyone because of that. Same with YouTube. YouTube is like, we need to fucking censor everything for the children.
Kids, yeah.
And you're like, oh, you're dumb. You got one of those gatekeep motherfuckers telling you how to think. No, it's not that. Listen to the artist.
Right.
They'll all tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. You follow them, not the fucking gatekeeper calling the shots, you idiots. Mm-hmm. You're going to kill your platform doing so.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's already going downhill.
Exactly. It's all these things where you see gatekeepers creeping in. Mm-hmm. All it does is now pull everyone away. Mm-hmm. A gatekeeper is kryptonite nowadays because those motherfuckers don't know shit because they're too busy trying to have the right opinion. Mm-hmm. Everyone's trying to consume content that they think is really good.
Yeah.
Those two are polar opposites. You can't have good artwork that's trying to appease everyone. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It has to live in its own box, be its own thing. It can't be, I can't create art thinking about how to make everyone happy. I just have to create the art. I'm not trying to offend anyone. Mm-hmm. I just have to create something I think is good. Mm-hmm. And then after that, if people think it's good, it's good.
Right.
If not, whatever. I think it's good. I can still be like, hey, it's good. Believe me.
Right.
But if I went into my work going, how could I make everyone happy? It's like the mural shit. It's like,
oh yeah.
That's why I get so mad about that shit is like, because I already see it trying to creep into my brain of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this because it would make people mad. And I'm like, fuck that. Like, I can't think that way. I have to just think of what's good and what's not good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of, oh, this might ruffle a few feathers. But that's the mindset of a gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm. I see.
So fuck all that shit. Do you guys fucking make your own fucking group of people who like your work, you know, and create the shit you like and work your fucking ass off and you'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
This was another Waiting to Dry Rant Corner.
Sorry. But yeah, the main thing I agree with is you definitely have to be good.
For sure.
I would say that is the first big step.
Oh, yeah.
Is
to even have a seat at the table. Yeah. You gotta have something going on.
People will slide in there who are garbage every once in a while, but don't be that motherfucker. Don't rely on that luck.
Right.
The percentage of people that are there are skilled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the fucking Disney people are probably really skilled. They just aren't good.
Yeah.
Like they can probably like sing pretty decent, act okay.
Right.
They're on like the lowest end of being really good, of being good.
Right.
But at a bunch of shit. So you're just like, wow, you're so talented.
Right.
At 10 things.
Uh-huh.
But you're not that great at one. But yeah.
Yeah.
Talk that shit. Sorry, gatekeepers, if you're listening.
Yeah. I'm closing the gate on Joshua Logan.
Fuck it, do it. I'll fucking climb a fence.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. What else we got?
Just for anybody who is curious, I put together the list of the top 10 most downloaded episodes this year.
Of 2019?
Of 2019. Yeah. Where's my drum roll?
Minisode number 1.
Yeah. Number 10 was Blake Newbert. Number 57.
That was probably one of my favorite episodes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So if you haven't
one of the most fun to do for sure. But
yeah, shout out.
I know people who've listened back to it multiple times.
Fuck yeah. Do you know them personally?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say, like,
I just made that up.
Some girl from out of town that I know. She's at a different school.
Right. That one was John Wayne Grimace. That was the name of the title of it. Number 9 was episode 68, Larry Moore, Fishing for Elephants. That was, I think, the only Josh free episode in this.
I was like, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Fishing for Elephants.
Uh-huh.
All right.
That was with Larry Moore. We talked about his book.
All right.
So.
You got one in there.
Yeah. Actually, I got 2 of them in there.
Okay.
Number 74 with Gage Optenbrow, the longest episode ever.
I was supposed to be a part of that one.
Yeah.
I set that whole one up.
Yeah, you did. And then you went out and camped, I think.
I forget what I did.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a part of it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of talkers that would have been that one.
I listened to that one. That one was good.
Yeah. Shout out to Bagger.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Shout out to Bagger.
Yeah, for filling in.
Yeah.
Number 7, episode number 60, Heather Ian Martin, True Religion Introverts.
That one was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Heather.
Yeah. She even made a little comic afterwards.
Hell yeah. She gave us tangerines or some shit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Lemons, I think.
Lemons. Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's right. She gave a bunch of lemons. That was cool.
Hell yeah.
Number 6, was our only solo episode on this motherfucker.
You motherfuckers. I
Number
thought you
50.
loved us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this episode is for you guys. Number 56, Keep the Sauce Hot, which was the one where we recorded about an hour of it, or we didn't record an hour of it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I actually like that one a lot.
Yeah, me too.
The roast beef sandwich.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hell yeah.
Number 5 was number 64, Ian Reynolds, Triple Threat.
That was a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
Still the best answer for David Cho money?
For David Cho money. Yeah.
Goes to Ian. Shout out.
Yep. Yeah, that was a good episode. I really liked hanging out with Ian that night.
Yeah. He's good people.
Mm-hmm. Number 4 is number 59, Hellas When. There's no crying in digital.
Oh, Hellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
We almost broke her. We almost had a tear.
Yeah, that is true.
We almost got a tear that episode. Shout out to Hellas.
Some behind the scenes inside scoop there. Number 3 is episode 65, Nate Van Dyke. That's Where the Sex Is. So that was the one we did around the time that we recorded with Hellas, I believe.
Was that not the one with Paul?
No, that's the one. That's the one where it was basically just a big Q&A with him.
Oh, yeah. Next question.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lots of beer as usual.
Yeah, I got a ticket that day, dropping him off. Did I ever tell you that?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I don't think we talked about it on the podcast. This is a funny story.
Yeah.
So,
do it.
So I was driving MJ's Prius to the city, which I'm a giant guy, and
Nate is a tall man.
and so we were drinking, and I'm like, hey Nate, you want to drive? You want me to drop you off before I head home, because he's kind of on the way.
Yeah.
To Golden Gate. And he was like, yeah. So we're driving through Haight Street.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little fucking weird section because Haight Street, if you've ever driven through it, there's a bunch of crosswalks, but it's like not every one is a stop sign.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
yeah. So I'm always like, is this a stop sign or not? And there would happen to be one where it wasn't a stop sign. And I was rolling through it, and a cop, he was supposed to stop at a stop sign, but he decided to roll through it. And I was like, fuck. So I hit my brakes. Like, is he just going to like go through and fucking like, cause I'm a cop, I could just do whatever the fuck I want.
Right.
And I was like, fuck. So I stop and I like look to see if they're going, and they don't. So I keep going, and there just happen to be people like right when I stopped or hit the brakes, they started crossing against the crosswalk. And I didn't realize it because I was looking at the cop, and I was like, fuck. So I kept driving and I saw the people, and I slammed my brakes, and I was like, fuck. And so I got pulled over. But then the funny part is that Nate is like 6'7". I don't know what he is.
Yeah.
And the cop's like, license and registration, and Nate has to like open the glove box. It's like super hard for him to open them because it's like bumping against his knees.
Yeah.
And so he opens it, and he finds the registration, and when he finds it, he drops it between his legs. So now he's like somehow crouched down to grab it like through his fucking legs, which are just and so I told the cop, I'm like, sorry, my buddy's a fucking giant. And then, and at the end, the cop's like, hey, get a bigger car. All right.
The policy enforcers.
Yeah, that's right.
Policy. Yeah, but I don't know. And I was a bit buzzed, so I was like,
oh yeah,
God.
Was that a little scary?
I was I thought I would pass. I wasn't like super drunk.
Right.
But I was worried because Nate was drinking too.
Oh, right.
They were talking on Nate's window, so I was like,
it's like it's gonna smell of breath on it. Yeah.
But we were good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe that story wasn't that good.
I don't know. I think it was. If you can visualize it, if people know what the both of you look like, it's a great story.
Yeah, Nate looks like a fucking like a Nazi superhero. He's not at all, but if they could cast him for a film, that's what he would. Right. That's what he would play. No diss.
He looks like he could be casted on The Boys.
Yeah. Good show.
All right. Episode number 2, most downloaded, was episode 63, Daniel Seagrove, pencil mic drop.
Oh, yeah.
That was a super fun episode.
Yeah, we talked about Pokemon for a little bit. Yeah, that was a good episode. Yeah, shout out to Daniel.
Thanks to him for coming all the way out here.
I ran into him like a week later in Japantown.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, with his wife.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Her
fiance
wife?
Yeah.
Yeah. In like a big ass festival, like Plum Blossom Festival or some shit.
Oh, okay. For sure.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about the episode together?
No, we just talked really quick, and then he was on his way out. We were on our way in.
Yeah. He's usually a pretty quiet dude. Like I usually when I see him at shows, it's just like quick pleasantries. That's about it. He's 90% of the time he's on his way out somewhere.
Yeah. I feel like John Wentz used to be like that for me. Same with Amanda Lynn.
Oh, really?
Those are the people I'd always see them on their way out from a show and they're like, oh, I got to go to a dinner. I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah. What do we got?
And last but not least, speaking of number 58, John Wentz.
Hey.
Work like an American.
Work like an American.
That was the name of the episode, but yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. That was a good night.
Yeah.
We had dinner at Irene's after that.
Yep. Yeah, we did. That was super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we got drunk.
Had, a couple other past guests showed up to that too, I think.
Yeah, Hellas was there.
Hellas, a couple other people.
Remember who else?
Yeah.
Irene. MJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember who was
Me,
there.
you.
Me, yeah. Was Monty there? Monty was there?
Monty was there, yeah.
Yeah, Delphine, was she there?
Yeah, she must have been, right? Yeah. Or no, she actually, I think she'd already gone back to Paris, right? But yeah, I believe so.
But yeah. Yeah, good times.
Yeah. Fun little trivia for myself. Those 2 episodes are some of my favorite intros I've ever done.
Oh, way to make it about yourself, Sergio.
Exactly.
Way to make it about yourself.
Give myself a little.
Can we just make that a soundbite where I say way to make it about yourself, Sergio?
Yeah.
And you can set yourself up and then knock it down with that.
Exactly.
And there he is, little Sergio Lopez.
What the fuck was that?
It's cool.
He is cool?
Yeah.
What was the first part say?
Little Sergio Lopez.
What?
I found, well, it wasn't me actually. Vanessa found this very strange YouTube video that somebody did, basically critiqued one of my paintings. And they went through my website, and that was one of the clips that I found from it.
How did we not watch that for a fucking episode?
It's very boring, most of it.
Well, you know what? Maybe we should just... Do you have time to record a mini-sode right now?
Sure.
Because I'm going to be out of town next week.
Oh, all right. Oh, yeah. So am I. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I guess we know what we're going to do for our mini-sode.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
All right. So is that the show?
That is the show.
Happy New Year's, everyone.
Mer Crema, everybody.
Mm-hmm. And all that good stuff. See you in the 2020s.
That is right. Yeah.
And I am
see you next decade.
Barbara Walters. How fast is that joke going to get old?
Barbara Walters.
Yeah. This is 2020 and I am Barbara Walters. All right.
All right.
Well, fuck off.
A Happy New Year as well as a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, T.I.